Hey guys, it's Alexis, and I'm here today to film the Disney book tag. I will link the original video for this tag down below. I saw this tag on a couple people's channel, but most recently I saw it on the Page Mistress's channel, so I will leave her channel link down below. Number 1, The Little Mermaid, a character who is out of their element, a fish out of water, and that is most definitely Delilah Bard from Shades of Magic by V.E. Schwab. Yeah. Delilah, I don't want to spoil it, but Delilah ends up in a place she was never meant to be in. I can't really say much because it's a spoiler, but Delilah. Number 2, Cinderella, a character who goes through a major transformation, and of course I had to pick my lovely queen, Selena Sardothian, from the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. Selena, especially, I find her biggest transformation is in Heir of Fire, and then her transformation carries on into Queen of Shadows. But she goes through such a transformation because she's been through a lot of stuff, and in Heir of Fire she's very heavily confronted with that, and she's meant to deal with it in order to become the person she's always meant to be. And so through that process she definitely transforms into a queen of my heart. Number 3, Snow White, a book with an eclectic cast of characters, and there's no way I could not answer this question without choosing the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer, because literally every single character in these books is totally different from one another. They're all totally unique in their personalities and the roles they play and their relationships with other characters, and yeah, definitely a very unique group. Number 4, Sleeping Beauty, a book that put you to sleep, and for this one I have to choose The Replacement by Brenna Yovanoff. I read this book years ago, and the only thing I really remember about it was not enjoying it because I thought it was very boring, so I'll have to choose that one. The Lion King, a character who had something traumatic happen to them in childhood, and for that I'm going to choose Celeste from the Flat Out Love, Flat Out Celeste series by Jessica Park. This is the book that predominantly focuses on Celeste, but Flat Out Love is actually the first book in the series. But I can't say what happens to her because it's a major spoiler, but I can tell you that the minute you meet Celeste, you definitely realize that she's a little odd. Number 6, Beauty and the Beast, a beast of a book that you were intimidated by, but found the story to be beautiful. And for that one, I have to choose 1Q84 is how it's spelled, but it's actually pronounced 1984 because of the Japanese pronunciation by Haruki Murakami. This is easily one of the largest books I've ever read, and it took me like 3 months to read it. And it definitely was intimidating, especially in like the first quarter of the book when you're like, oh my gosh, I still have so many pages to go. But ultimately, I did find the story so interesting, and I love Murakami's writing because there's something very captivating about it, and the characters and the plot summaries, the plot twists are just so intriguing, and ultimately I did really end up enjoying that book. Aladdin, a character who gets their wish granted for better or worse, and I have to choose Maddie from Everything Everything by Nicole Yoon. Maddie is a young girl who has a disease in which she is basically allergic to everything in the outside world, so she basically lives in a little bubble in her room until a young boy moves in next door, who definitely captivates her attention, and she just wants to be with him and to finally leave the confines of her prison, which is of course her room, under the watchful eye of her mother. And so I guess this is kind of a spoiler to say this, but Maddie definitely gets her wish granted, and I would say for better and for worse. Number 8, Mulan, a character who pretends to be something or someone they're not, and I have to go with Mare from the Red Queen series by Victoria Aveyard. This is just the dust jacket because I left the book in my car. And this is also the second one because I didn't feel like pulling Red Queen out because it's underneath a whole stack of books, and I was like, nah. But in the first book, Mare discovers that she has, the story is about there are these two groups of people, there are the Reds and the Silvers, the reds have regular red blood, and the silvers have silver blood, and they also have magical powers. So in an accident, Mare realizes that she has silver blood powers despite being a red blood, and so because of that, she basically gets pulled into the silver court and is made to pretend that she's a lost princess, and she definitely ends up pretending that she's someone she's not, and it definitely has severe ramifications on her life and on the world itself. Number 9, Toy Story, a book with characters you wish would come to life. And I'm sure that this is the same answer everybody else chose, but I chose the Raven Boys. Plus Blue, plus the ladies of 300 Foxway, and you know what, the Gray Man too, from the Raven Cycle Quartet by Maggie Stiefvater, because these are easily some of my all-time favorite characters. I don't think there's a single character in this book I dislike. Like, even the bad guys I still like because they're such great bad guys. But, like, if I could hang out with the Raven Boys and Blue for a day, and just, I would love to go ley line hunting with them, and even though a lot of the stuff they encounter is super scary, I would still love to do it with this cast of characters because they're just so awesome and funny and unique, and yeah. So, the gang, the Glendower gang from the Raven Cycle Quartet. And finally, Disney Descendants, your favorite villain or morally ambiguous character, and I have a lot of favorite villains and morally ambiguous characters, because typically those tend to be my favorite characters if they're written well, because like I just appreciate a well-written villain. But in order to not repeat some of the books I've already mentioned in this list, I'm going to choose one of my all-time favorite morally ambiguous characters, and that is Jaime from A Song of Ice and Fire by George R. R. Martin. Honestly, Jaime does a lot of really terrible stuff, but I actually forget half the time that he's technically supposed to be a villain. He belongs to the Lannister family, which, if you've read A Game of Thrones, or if you've seen the TV show, or if you've read the whole A Song of Ice and Fire series, you know that the Lannisters are very much like the bad guys in the story, but because George R. R. Martin gives you their point of view, they become so much more than just the bad guys, and you get to learn like their reasoning for doing all the things that they do, and their motivations, and basically like their thoughts, and it just gives so much depth to their character, and because of that reason I fell in love with Jaime, and yeah, so Jaime Lannister. Alright guys, so that was the Disney book tag. I absolutely love Disney, so doing this was super fun. You guys should let me know down below first what your favorite animated Disney movie is, because I could talk about that with anyone. And my other question is, let me know down below what book characters you guys wish would come to life, because I think that is the most interesting question of this list. So yeah, let me know down below. Bye guys.